is everybody doing this evening? I think this is going to be a little bit shorter. Missed some days that I said I was going to be here. Some personal stuff came up, but I think I'll be on for about an hour tonight. Mostly just talking about different new things I've been working on. Not even necessarily the Christmas stuff that I've been doing. Probably get back to that, maybe sometime later this week on Friday or something. But first concept I want to talk about, I'm trying to angle correctly, is let's say you have a drop two voicing, line guitar, and if you've been watching for the past few sessions, let me see if I can angle so you can see a little bit better. Right, so we've been doing the, let's say, major diminished six scale, right? So scale chords, doing the drop twos looks something like this. Strings, and you can figure it out for all four sets. There's 3 sets of 4 strings, right? Which is the ones I've been focusing on. And the way I like doing them is having the note we're trying to harmonize on the top. So of course, starting with F here and moving through the scale, right? So F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, right? Your F major scale. Right, and then you put the notes under it, and it alternates this pattern of F6. So it would be G diminished. Let's just keep with that, so it's easy to remember. And this is an inversion of F6. Then back to G diminished and G diminished 7. So that's the 1 minor 3, diminished 5, and diminished 7, which happens to be the 6. Or sorry, the minor 6. Wait, no. Sorry, it happens to be the 7 in the scale, but it is the 6. And then we're back to the same idea. We're back to F6, G diminished, F6, and these are inversions of F6, of course, because I said that we want the note on top, and then. So it's alternating between the major 6 and the diminished chord. Well, those are in drop 2. So let's just talk real quick. Like, what does drop 2 mean? So you have a chord, and it's various inversions. But for a major 6 chord, let's just keep it simple. I like the one where the root's on top, so let's put C up top. So bottom to top voicings, right? Because the chord should be 1, 3, 5, 6. We're doing the first inversion, so 1's on top, so it should be 3, 5, 6, 1, right? Top to bottom voicing, right? So this, you can work it out in this chord right here where you're barring the top 2, so it's from top to bottom it's 1, 1, 2 open. That's F6. You can find out that this happens to be starting on the top voice. This is of course the root. 5, 3, 6. So the 6 is on the bottom because it's drop 2. Because it normally would be 1, 6, 5, 3, but we take the 6 and move it to the bottom. So you get 1, 5, 3, 6. Drop 3, right? So you start from the top. So drop 2 means the second voice from the top you move down. And those are super useful on guitar because they group, you use them in patterns of 4 strings sequentially. Now, furthering this idea, drop 3. So instead of dropping the second note down in terms from voicings top to bottom, let's move the third one down. So it should be 1, 6, 3, 5. Well, how do we do that? We already have drop 2. We like to convert these really easily into drop 3. Well, the effect is going to be you're going to move the second voice up, you're going to move the second voice you have down, and you're going to move the bottom voice up, right? And I again, just following the procedure, right? The second voice down goes in drop 2. It's going down, so we need to bring that back up to where it should be, and the third voice needs to move down, right? And because it's gonna be the second from the top if we're thinking about drop 2, but that's the basic idea. So what does that mean you have to do? And on guitar, this is pretty simple. We need to move the second voice down an octave and the bottom voice up an octave. Well, on guitar, this comes back to our string strip, or like skipping rules. So again, back to our original thing, we have this chord, which is 1 1 2 0. We need to move this 1 on the second string down to the 5th string, because we got to move it down an octave. We'll use our 3-string rules moving down. If you remember, in order to do that between the 2nd and 5th string, that's the same as going up 2 frets on the 5th string. Right, these are an octave. Okay, we know that. And our bottom voice, which happens to be right here, how do we move that up an octave? Well, using our 2-string rules, just based on our grouping, right? Drop 3 should be 3 strings together and then 1 kind of isolated at the bottom. Well, we can use our 2-string rules, and that's just your normal octave, right? And up here, it's going to be 3 frets up, 2 strings up. So you get a chord that originally goes 1 1 2 0. It should be 1 3 2, and then 2 again on the 5th string. So you get a chord that looks like this. And that's drop 3. And that's just a general way. You already have drop 2s when terminated to drop 3s. Turns out the second note down, you move down an octave using the 3-string skip rule. And your bottom voice, you got to move up an octave. And you just can convert them. You don't need to work anything else out. So you can use things you already know. It's a really, really nice way to do this, and worth noting. It's a really cool trick, right? So you can work these out, right? And you can do the same thing with the diminish, which on the top 4 string is this kind of like jagged thing, right? So for me, should be again from the top string down is 3 2 3 2. Well, how do we get back to a diminished shape in the same way? Well, this one starting on 2 needs to move down the octave. This case goes to here on the 4th fret of the 5th string. This voice here needs to move up an octave. Oh, sorry. Which for us would put it right here. So you get this kind of funky one where it is kind of this jagged shape, right? Where it ends up being from the top 3 5 3. 4. Now, you don't always have to use the same shape. I like keeping, because drop 2 is so easy to use, But you can keep following that pattern. So yeah, you can start you can start memorizing drop 3s by knowing that trick. You can work them out, and if you can quickly see octave patterns down 3 strings and up 2 strings, you can do this pretty quickly. So that's one thing I've been working on. The other thing is another trick is, earlier I was talking about, so you go back to this diminished idea, and I'll play it up here. Let's play it up on with the root on the 14th fret. It turns out, if you think about this, because it goes 1 minor 3, diminished 5, 6. What if you lower one of the notes, you get back to a dominant, and the root will be whichever note you lower. Right. Another way to think about this is a dominant is a major third followed by a minor triad. Well, lowering of the note will create a major interval between one of the 2 notes, and you have a minor triad. So that's why it works. The simplest one is, I like this form here. That is the same shape as the. It should be this. This actually happens to be a different chord, but it's the same shape as the diminished on the middle 4 strings, but move it up a string set. This of course should be B flat 7. How do I know that? Well, this is B on the 2nd string, and this is the one moved down. So wherever you're standing creates the dominant chord. But what happens if instead of moving one of the notes down from this diminished shape, we move a note up? turns out, if you do that, you will get the minor 6 chord. And it will be, this is a quick aside, right? Talking about Barry Harris's 6 on the 5th rules. The first idea you learn for chord substitutions of this type is you can always substitute for a dominant 7th chord with its minor 6 on the 5th. Why does this work? Let's keep it simple. Let's start with a C7 chord. So C, E, G, B flat. A minor 6 is literally just the same thing as major 6 with a minor 3rd, right? So it's going to end up being G minor 6. Let's work that out, right? So G, B, D, F would be the dominant 7 chord. We need to lower it, so we get G, B, D, E, and that's the major 6, so it's G, B flat, D, E. Am I right about that? G, B flat, D, E. Does that work? Yeah. Yeah, that's substitution. That's sorry. I got distracted. Right. So G minor 6 is of course G, B flat, D, and then F. You got to move down to the 6, so it's E. Of course, that's correct. So let's think about how these two chords relate. So I said C7, so C, E, G, B flat, and replacing it with, again, the minor 6 on the 5th. So G, B flat, D, E. Well, it's a C9, right? Without the root. It's a rootless C9 voicing. So it's that's why you can do it. You get very, very, very nice voicing. So it turns out, that's the quickest substitution you know. And you already know another substitution, right? You can always replace a minor 7th chord with the major 6th on its 3rd. And that's just almost like by definition, right? A minor 7 is the same as C6. They're the same notes. A lot of Barry Harris's 6th on the 5th rules are just different ways of, really telling you what these chords are under the hood. So it turns out if you're doing this diminished trick, you're moving up a note, right? Remember, as I said, you can choose any of them. You move them a fret down, and you'll go to dominant chord. If you take that same string, bring it back to where it was in its diminished, and move it up a fret, you will get the 6 on the 5th. So in this case, as I said, B flat. This is B flat 7. We change this and get this other shape, right? So you got this jagged shape right here, which is our diminished. Move it up, you get this very familiar minor 6 shape. Which one must it be? Indeed, it is F minor 6, right? B flat D F. 6 on the 5th. The 5th is F minor 6. So you get what you should replace the chord with by Barry Harris's 6th on the 5th rules. A very nice trick to know. And if you look into the stuff more, you'll hear, in fact, Barry Harris himself has this type of movement idea. I really recommend. I see if I can find something on this. Some public resource out there talking about it. I might have to go back through Barry Harris's videos. But you can go through all these substitutions because it turns out the diminished kind of works like a dominant 2, right? I mean, by our usual chord substitution rules, I mean at least two notes have to be in common. Yes, you can replace with a diminished chord. We'll share, right? So turns out you're going to replace F diminished for B flat, and all the chords that share the same name are diminished because of its symmetric nature, because they share at least 2 notes. In fact, as you can see, it shares actually 3 notes. So what harmonic function does the diminished have? I argue, based on what we're moving, that it's like a flat 9 sound. Right? Because what we're moving here is, this is the root, replacing it essentially with raising the root gives you a flat 9. And as I said, the minor 6 on the 5th is like a 9 sound. So we got 9, flat 9, root. So you can create this pretty quick movement where we go minor 6, diminished, then to the 7, and then of course we get back to, if you want to, resolve it, you go back to the 1. Okay, one more time. So, a cool trick to know. I mean, you're working through all the voicings, different ways to essentially say play the same thing. Again, a really cool trick to know that kind of the reverse way of back to the augmented, like Pat Martino's augmented triad thing, where it turns out, you stick with let's just stay on the right. This is the augmented triad. Actually, let's keep this simple. That I know this must be F major. It's relative minor. It's of course D. And if instead of lowering the note, you raise it, you get this, which is D minor. Wait. Right here, D minor. Wait. I might be wrong. 1 second. Because it has to be this. So it's F major. Yeah, we got to move the opposite way. So this is D minor. Right. You get the same type of relative idea, but this is not necessarily, major to relative minor. It's a very similar idea, but you're moving from the dominant towards its sixth substitution. That's its relative in this sense. Yeah, cool thing I picked up. Something I want to work on. But definitely worth knowing that if you have, again, diminished shapes are super useful. I decided to transform them really quick into dominant sevenths, and what makes them particularly useful on guitar is when you're lowering the note, the root is whatever note you lowered, right? And you can know, like, really simply from this shape to this shape because, right? So this shape to this shape, that you know where the root is, you can figure out its components. Right? I know this has to be, so on the second string is the root. This has to be the fifth on the first string. It's too close to be the third, so this must be the seventh right here. And this must be the third. Right, and if you work out your shapes, that is indeed the third on the fourth string. So, same idea with, reversing with shell chords, because they're on the bottom, they're really easy to form. With this like diminished concept, because you know where the root is, you can change it into what you need, right? So back to this idea, diminished, back to the seventh, dominant seventh. To get it back to a major seventh, you just have to raise the seventh. So you get this. Oops, it's gonna be kind of nasty because it's kind of in block form. So one thing you can do is convert this. Right, let's take this note and move it down an octave. So you get this. But the thing I like using this most for is converting into minor thirds or minor sevenths. Of course, take the seventh down and you get major six forms, which is another way to get back to what I've been doing before, right? Real trick or easy trick, you want to get back to some just want to play a major six chord, diminished, lower the top note, and usually based on how this is done, because you get a drop two form, you're going to be lowering the bottom note to get back to a six. So you get this, which of course is the shape on the string that's it for the root. course, repeat the same idea. You're going to get back to minor 6. Then you have to lower the 3rd. You get a lot of this stuff, as I said, you kind of get back to the same ideas. So those are the 2 things I wanted to talk about. I think those are cool tricks. Maybe I'll elaborate more on them in a future live session. But yeah, I just want to do that. Probably will play through my chords. I also worked on, let's see if I can remember them, converting the diminished 6 stuff into triads on the lower strings. So if I remember correctly, it should be something like this. Actually, let's try it up here. Diminished 6 scale, right? So starting here on, what would that be? The 7th fret of the 4th, or yeah, on the 4th string, right? So. You can also follow that down an octave, so you get this. So you get 1, 6, 3. Just try and follow it up. So each of these notes we're going to try and follow the scale, right? It turns out you get this shape, right? So it's... And you can keep following this up. You can actually do extra octaves. So I'm working on that. And you can even do it into dyads, right? So you got 1 and 6. Just trying to follow the shapes. And if you're paying attention, these should be the same. They should be the same as the triads, but you're just keeping the 2 notes, right? So. This is very similar to the stuff we were doing before. I remember with D minor that you get shapes like this. I can remember my own shapes. There we go. So these triads, you can, of course, because they're triads, you can do the octave tricks, right? So you get. We're all kind of going over the same ideas, the different ways to try and add harmony. What I'm going to do with the last 5 minutes, just as a warm up, is going to go through all of the. Let's just do the major diminished 6, starting with the bottom 4 strings. So you get this. string set. So you get this. Strings. I like doing thirds. 2. So you get 1. The 7th under. If we can. Same idea on the middle 4 strings. Bottom 4 strings now. there's that. I'm gonna take a real quick break and be back. And I think we're just gonna freeform improvise for a while, especially with my. Let's do it in E minor because Greensleeves that. I haven't done some improvisation in a while. Anyways, I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. And in fact, let's do it in D minor because I like doing this stuff. Like one thing I've been working on is good finger. Not quite independent, maybe what I was saying. So you have these drums, this is the first and fifth and D. And those are your upper hands because I'm using my thumb and index. Try and play the scale. Again, I feel like I just gotta, get back in the routine again. Really, really practice this stuff. With that, let's do. Let's see if we can do a few choruses on "It Could Happen to You." And just to make it simple, we're not gonna play the melody. Oh, don't want Bluetooth. Feel very out of practice. Let's just go through a repertoire while we're at it. Let's just improvise over "Beautiful Love." round did I set it for? Okay, I did 5 times around. I don't know. Let's do auto loose. Let's do 3 times around instead of 5. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the improvisation I've done tonight, at least. We got time for maybe one more. I don't know. Let's mess around. It's not gonna be good. Let's try and do I Got Rhythm. Which I'll just do the chords. Actually, let's not do that one. Let's do. Let's see who has one for cocktail. Sure. Let's hear it, right? Okay, let's play in the right key first. It's B flat. Not, what was I playing? I was playing G flat. Yeah, it's okay. I feel like a lot of it's just a little. I don't know. I'm just a little like da 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 da, and not enough of like actually creating lines. Anyways, I think I'll work on that on my own. All right, as I said, a little bit quicker tonight. I'll be back probably on Friday. We'll see. We'll see how we're doing. But yeah, quick stream since I hadn't done anything in a little bit. Anyways, that's what I have for tonight.